stream. It's going to be a shorter stream, perhaps than normal, but it's still wonderful to have everybody here. 1 a.m. streams, I tend not to, they're not as long. We don't have any specific topics. I rather just hang out, wait for a couple, see who joins. And anything that you guys want to chat about when it comes to Freemasonry, any thoughts you have, positive, negative, or neutral when it comes to Freemasonry, I'd love to hear it. As always, though, let's chat about Freemasonry, but let's give it a couple more few minutes, see who joins this morning or this afternoon's stream. The timing is so weird because you do it 1 p.m., 1 a.m. The October 29th, 1 p.m. stream, one of the things that we talked about was the idea of Masonic sludge, taking the idea from corporate sludge, which is basically all of the administrative or basically anything that holds up the ability of a corporation, a business, a community, pick your term, any type of group, to complete work efficiently, quickly, and effectively. So red tape could be an example of corporate sludge. Freemasonry has its own types of sludge, though, its own type of processes that take away from our ability to do things well or do things quickly, resulting in frustration amongst all different levels, whether it be applicants, people interested in joining Freemasonry, through to members, through to Grand Lodge and administrators. Hello, Dylan. How's it going? Thank you for being here. I hope you'll take a moment to hit that. Well, I guess you already hit the like button. I hope you are doing well. Thank you for being here. How is your morning going? Globulus is back. I do not know what the at means. Babek, welcome. Thank you for being here. I hope that you guys will both take a moment to hit the like button and let me know if there's anything you want to talk about. And I'm glad that your morning is just starting. I hope your morning is going well. Thank you so much for being here. Those are eyes. Oh, and is that beneath it a mouth? Okay. Well, I've never seen that before, but that's very cool. Welcome, Globulus. Thank you for being here as always. I appreciate it. How is it going with you? I hope your day is going well or your night's going well. I don't know what time it is for you. That is awesome, Dylan. Any exciting plans for Halloween coming up in what, 2 days? 1 day, I guess. Today's the 30th. Theophilus, how's it going? Oh, Dream Seeker, you need to send me another message with your address because for whatever reason on my phone the message got deleted. So send me another message with your address in order to so I can mail you the postcard that I owe you. I have no idea what that is. So, Dream Seeker, shoot me off a message or an email, either works. But I need your address once again because for whatever reason, my phone decided to erase a whole bunch of messages. Okay. I don't want to dance around any fires in any homeless camps. I do not know what that means, Dylan, but okay. I'd like to avoid... I mean, dancing on fire in general seems like a very bad idea, to be perfectly honest with you. I'd rather we not dance around any fires. It seems like that could risk falling into a fire. Oh, but do you mean for Halloween that's your plan? Okay, I would recommend not doing that. Because once again, I would recommend nobody dance around fires. I'm just going to put that out there. I worry it might be dangerous for you, just for the record. Maybe dance around a metaphorical fire. Put a fireplace on your television and then dance around that. I feel like that'd be safer. Theophilus, Globulus, Dream Seeker, any plans for Christmas? Or sorry, not Christmas, geez. I'm getting way too far ahead. Any plans for Halloween? Um, which is what, 2 days from now? Or one day. It's technically October 30th, so I guess one day. One more sleep. What is a burn barn? I'm not sure I've heard that before. Is that like a barn that is burned? Like, what's a is that some type of Halloween celebration? There you go. That sounds like fun for everybody. Okay, there you go. Actually, I will say there are a ton of Masonic lodges, and Masonic buildings that actually have haunted houses. Norfolk, Johnstown, Bay City, Detroit does some haunted stuff. I think it's really, really cool. I don't know right now. I mean, I'm going to be live streaming at 1 p.m. and I'll definitely bring up some examples of Masonic haunted houses. But beyond that, I don't really have any other plans. Honestly, I've been so busy. It may be nice to spend the evening relaxing a little bit and just hanging out. Um, could be enjoyable, especially because in what is it? I've got an interview I need to edit actually, in fairness, so I could do that. But in, let's see, 1, 2, 3. In about 4 weeks, I'll be actually traveling to Edinburgh, so I have to get ready for that a little bit as well. Send out some correspondence, send out some emails, bunch of work I should get to. I had a really fun stream today with Smokey the Clown as well. That was a blast. I try to do those every 29th, so that was really fun. But let's give it a couple. Let's see who else joins. Take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. P Word Destroyer. Hello. Don't be destroying too much. I hope you're doing well. I hope you hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know if there's anything you want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry. Positive, negative, or neutral. I'd love to hear it. It goes up and down. It picked up for a while. Now it's kind of going back down again, but it goes up and down. But I've been lucky enough and privileged enough to get a lot of people donating. If anybody wants to help out, you can do a donation or a super chat. I shouldn't call it donation. You can do a super chat, even of 99 cents, actually helps out big time because the algorithm picks up on it. And don't forget, I still do have my Patreon, so you can also get the Patreon. And don't forget, Dream Speaker, speaking of that, make sure you shoot me off a message with your address so I can get you the postcard. Mail that to you ASAP because you're the last one I have left to get you kind of what you're owed as part of the being a Patreon, which you won at our 24-hour live stream. I'm also trying to figure out the best way to do. Yes, just text it to me. You can text me now if you want. I'll see it. But then I can mail it to you tomorrow. The other thing about the 24-hour live stream is normally I do them the 21st of the month. I can't do that this month or November, so I may do something different than the typical 24-hour live stream. I'm not sure what yet, but I'll think of something because it might be maybe I'll do two 12-hour streams. Who knows? I got a couple different thoughts. And as always, if there's any ideas that you have, anything that you want me to do, please let me know also, because that would be wonderful. It'd be very helpful. I'm always interested in what the audience wants from me, right? What do you guys think would be really cool and really interesting and really fun to learn about? I got myself vaccinated today. I got both the COVID vaccine and I got the flu shot, one in each arm. So my arms are. I had my wrestling yesterday or on Monday, which is, fun, but you end up with super sore arms. And then this morning I got vaccinated twice. So I am feeling very tired at the moment. My arms are feeling quite sore. So this, as always, is going to be a smaller stream, but it's going to be a lot of fun as well. So like a shorter stream, I should say. But like I said, anybody wants to chat about anything, let me know. You can even spend a couple minutes doing a super chat, hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, all that good jazz. All right, I got your message, Dream Seeker. Thank you so much. That's a great question. I'll have to check that out. Famous Russian Masons. I can't even think of any off the top of my head. Famous. I'm just looking at Google quickly. Alexander Pushkin, Mikhail Kutsov, SARS, Nikolai Novikov, Andrei Bogdanov. I guess Alexander Pushkin, he was a Russian poet and writer who was a Freemason. So there's that. There were some SARS, Peter III, Alexander I. No, I mean, I do as well. You have to be careful because Google now has the new Gemini, I think it's Gemini AI. The danger of that, right, is AI is not always correct. And so you need to be really careful that you're not falling into a trap of just because AI says it, always double check. That's a big issue with AI in general, right? One of the biggest dangers, I think, is that people will, find something on, let's say, ChatGPT, Google AI, Grok, and assume it's correct without double checking it. AI gets a lot of stuff incorrect because ultimately what it's doing is pulling information from the internet, and the internet gets a lot of stuff incorrect as well. So that's my little warning for the day as it comes to warning of the day when it comes to artificial intelligence and relying upon it. But it can be a good place to start. It seems that way, Dream Seeker. You're not wrong. which does concern me a little bit. Um, but yeah, I think unfortunately that absolutely is very likely the way it's going to be. I think AI is definitely going to be um, the future of search, right? I think we're far more likely, unfortunately, to see people searching for things like, going to a large language model like ChatGPT and asking, like, what is Freemasonry? Which is why I'm always saying it's so important that we as Freemasons know what is being said about us on these platforms, right? Because I think one of the biggest dangers that we have is, if we don't know what is being said about us by artificial intelligence, then we're not prepared to rebut anything that they're saying that's incorrect. It's the same reason I used to say that we as Freemasons every couple months should type into Google, like, what is Freemasonry, and just see what Google provides as a response. I think we should be doing that with Google, but I also think we need to be doing that with large language models, especially the big ones like, again, ChatGPT, Grok, um, AI, Gemini, things like that. So I have a couple articles about that on Medium, but I definitely hope to get a few more. Um, no, I don't take it as disrespect, Dream Seeker. I've thought of doing that, but I'm trying to, like, I have already some um, virtual tours that are available through the Patreon app, some links which I can send to people. Um, but it's an interesting idea. It's just hard to, because it's hard for me to wheel around while live streaming because I got to hold the phone. I would almost need to have like one of those GoPro cameras. Not that it wouldn't be fun to have one of those GoPro cameras, but I couldn't do it on my phone. I need to have a stream and have like a GoPro camera on my head, so I could wheel around and show off the sites. But maybe, like, I'm going to be traveling to England, United Kingdom very soon. It might be worth uh, doing some tours or doing some live streams of my trips. Yes, I am Fat Matt, and you can, to support me, you could be so kind as to please take a moment to hit the like button and also give me a 99 cent super chat in honor of the fact I'm always here. But I always love being here. It's my pleasure to interact with everybody. But how is it going, Fat Matt? I hope you're doing well. And let me know if you have anything you want to talk about. This stream is going to be like a shorter stream, as they often are during my 1 a.m. Eastern streams. But don't worry, 1 p.m. I will be back to longer streams with more discussions. That's all I need, Fat Matt. That's all I need, and it's truly, truly appreciated. So thank you so much for that. Um, and like I said, I hope that you are doing very well. Let me know if you got any plans for the weekend. Do you have any plans for Halloween? You cannot, Lewis. I'm very sorry to say. You can, however, give me a super chat. Organic, rich equals realizing I create happiness. Who is I in that scenario? Is I as in myself, or is I a reference to a supreme being or a higher power? Um, well, in that case, Lewis, I'm just happy that you're here. And honestly, even you being here and hitting the like button helps out big time. So thank you so much for being here. Does that mean happiness comes from within, or does that mean, because when I hear I, yes, I wasn't sure if I was referencing I am, as in a supreme being, or if I was referencing the individual. I will say, I do think one of the things that we learn in Freemasonry is that ultimately, especially in Scottish Rite, one of the lessons is, riches, gold, fame, like external things are not as important as the internal qualifications to make you happy. Being honest, being dedicated, being hardworking. That's the stuff that matters. Much more so than how much money you got in the bank. That's awesome, Theophilus. And Lewis, no, you cannot. In fact, I may, Lewis, I may have to put you in a little bit of a timeout over here. Oh, that's a good question, Organic. I have to go. That's worth going into like a full daytime stream about that because um, there's a lot of connections. I mean, Rosicrucianism is another kind of fraternal or social organization. However, it's much more rooted in Christian theology. But Freemasonry borrowed a lot from it, certainly for Scottish Rite, the 18th degree, Rose Croix. But you know what? Organic Death, Organic Machine. What I may do is actually discuss that potentially next week, if that works for you. What I'll try to do is make an announcement on my socials as to which day I'll cover that specifically. But there's a lot to go into, right? Rosicrucianism itself started in Europe in the 17th century, if I recall correctly. It started a little bit before Freemasonry. Yeah, but a lot of Rosicrucianisms became Freemasons. A lot of Freemasons became Rosicrucianists. And a lot of Rosicrucian ideology, or not ideology, that's not the right term, philosophies made their way into the Rose Croix, which is a Scottish Rite series of degrees from the 15th to the 18th degree. But it would be definitely, like, I would have to do a little bit more studying to get the exact details of it. I guess it looks like it started around, I always thought it started like the late 1600s. It looks like it started actually around 1622. Actually, no, sorry. The first manifesto, Fama Fraternalis, was 1614. So it basically predates the formation of the Grand Lodge, the Premier Grand Lodge, by about 100 years, which is a little bit more than I thought. However, obviously, and Freemasonry did, during its creation, borrow some of the philosophies from Rosicrucianism as well. Thanks. I mean, it'd be fun to recommend. What I would have to start by researching more than anything, though, is the specific connections between Freemasonry. Like, I know, right? More specifically, how it is that they came to inspire Scottish Rite degrees. Because I know they did inspire Scottish Rite degrees. I've actually known, read papers regarding Rosicrucians who became Freemasons famously and vice versa. But I want to do a little bit more research on that. Well, I mean, if you've ever been to the DMV, Yuri, I can understand why people may have an interest in depopulation. However, I would rather we not depopulate. Because the danger of, wanting to depopulate is you don't know at what point you're going to end up being the one who has to take a bullet for the team, right? Or take one for the team. So let's not. But yeah, Rosicrucianism. I actually did an interview with the Rosicrucianist about 4 years ago. Um, I don't know a ton about the philosophy. Again, there were two. There was a Scottish Rite degree set inspired by Rosicrucianism. I know several Rosicrucians became Freemasons, and vice versa. Um, However, again, Freemasonry, right, is not a religious ideology. So, because Rosicrucianism, to my knowledge, is very much Christian influence or Christian based, it only has so much perch within Freemasonry. As I got like an itch on my back, could we do a quick rundown of their basic philosophy? I mean, to my understanding, but was that Rosicrucianism, Yuri? I don't think there's any evidence that the Guidestones, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think there's any evidence that the Georgia Guidestones were Rosicrucian, if that's what you're referring to. Um, I mean, I know there was even some conspiracy theories that they were actually Masonic, which they're not. Um, Yeah, I don't think there's any evidence that they're Rosicrucianism. I mean, to my knowledge, Rosicrucianism, the basic philosophy, it's pursuit of wisdom, enlightenment, esoteric knowledge from ancient sources. It kind of combined things like Gnosticism with Greek philosophy. I understand that Rosicrucianisms um, believe in I think they believe in reincarnation. Um, I also think that their emphasis is on self awareness and achieving perfection or achieving fulfillment therein. Um, that's kind of the basics of what I understand about it. Let me know organic machine. I keep wanting to call you organic death machine because I once knew somebody who had a handle. It was like organic death machine, something like that. Let me know if you think I got it close. Well, I mean, it may have represented it in the same way that if I wanted to, create something and pin it on the Freemasons, I may call it like M, MA space SON and use that as the name of the building process, right? Just because they say RC Christian doesn't necessarily confirm that they're Rosicrucianism. They could just use that name. I mean, we in Freemasonry right now have a major issue with what are called clandestine lodges, Yuri. Those are people who basically put a sign in front of their garage and they say, like, this is Bob's Masonic Lodge, or this is, Bob's Freemasonry, or whatever it is, or they rent out a hall somewhere and they call themselves Freemasons and they use terms like Masonic Lodge, Masonic Building. They use the terms for the degrees, but they're not actually Masonic, right? They just kind of created it themselves because they liked the terminology and wanted to create something and wanted to kind of use Freemasonry and Freemason terms as a way to give themselves some legitimacy. So, I am not one to necessarily say just because you call yourself RC Christian, I'm not willing to, you know, state that that definitively confirms they are Rosicrucian. In the same way, just because someone wears a Masonic ring, I don't automatically assume they're Freemason. A lot of people wear the rings who are not Freemasons, but may have got it from a family member, found one, or even purchased one because they liked the symbol. So, I mean, it could be that it was, in fact, the Rosicrucians or it could have been a non-member either making an homage or looking to misrepresent them, or it could have been a former member. It could have been somebody who was a Rosicrucian member and then left the order for whatever reason, but decided to use that name when building it, right? I guess if the one piece of evidence we have is the name RC Christian, then I'm not willing to believe that. I'm not willing to accept that that is definitive proof that they're Rosicrucians. Um, because I don't think that's enough. And I don't, to my knowledge, like, I don't know if Rosicrucians, like the little I've researched about it, I don't think the Rosicrucians that I know believe in depopulation. In at least in like a literal way, right? Um, where they actually want to like depopulate the planet by, violent means or anything to that nature. Um, like I think indicative is fair. Like I think so because Rosicrucians believe in. I have to research this some more, so people can let me know if I'm correct. I think Rosicrucianisms believe in reincarnation. I believe, but they also believe in this idea of there's multiple worlds that exist, and there's this idea that as humans become more advanced, they move from one world to the next. It's not that there's like an army depopulating the planet, rather, it's people moving from the current world we are in to a higher world upon reincarnation. Or I think they can also regress. Anyway, to my knowledge, it's they don't believe in depopulation in the sense that I think a lot of people accuse them of. Um, It could be. I don't think anybody knows, right? I don't think anybody knows what the stones actually were, um, for sure. I mean, it could just be that they were put up to mess with people, right? I know it's unlikely because it was probably pretty expensive. Um, right? If you want to kind of play a practical joke, like for example, the crop circles, famously, I don't know about every one of the crop circles, but a significant portion of them, it was discovered that they were hoaxes. People were going out into fields and making the crop circles as a way to like, mess with people. The difference is crop circles, it didn't cost people any money to do it. It just took time. The guide stones, it's not just the time it takes, it also would cost a fair bit of money to actually build this thing. And so it's probably less likely that they're done as a way to just mess with people. It's probably either reflective of some type of belief, or again, I wouldn't doubt it's possible that somebody was willing to spend all that money to cast aspersions against Rosicrucians and kind of give them a bad name. But to my knowledge, haven't the Georgia Guidestones been taken down anyways? I mean, I can tell you a lot of people online link the Georgia Guidestones with Freemasonry and say it's a Masonic monument, which again, I don't know if it's a Masonic monument, if they believe it's a Masonic monument because it's stones, or if that's where they're getting that from. But I've never heard any evidence that the Georgia Guidestones have anything to do with Freemasonry. And with the exception of the name that Yuri just indicated, never heard any indication they have anything to do with Rosicrucianism. Well, I first learned about them because it was actually I learned about them on, I believe it was John Oliver's show last week tonight, where he played a commercial from somebody who was running, I think, running for Senate in Georgia, and her campaign was entirely about um, dismantling not entirely, but a big like plank of her platform was dismantling the Georgia Guidestones. And obviously, it was pointed out that there are people, starving. There are people going without food. There are people going without health care. There are people who can't afford to get sick. There are people who can't afford their rent. Maybe dismantling kind of a random anonymous stone monument is not the best use of a politician's time. But that's the first time I learned of them. And then I kind of looked into them a little bit and learned about some of the conspiracy theories surrounding them, more from the Masonic perspective. But yeah, when I looked up on Google the Georgia Guidestones, it said that they were closed. So, um, Acadian 11 Shepherd. Welcome, Acadian 11. I hope you're doing well. Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm not as I don't think it was billionaires who did the Georgia Guidestones. Um, if that's what you're saying. Beyond that, I think billionaires have a lot of influence and power for a variety of reasons, but I think people have a certain level of ability and power as well to guide the fate of their countries. I'm a little bit more um, I'm a little bit less concerned about the influence of billionaires than others. I think they do have an outsized influence, but I do think people have the capacity to push back successfully if they have to push back against some of the dangers that we're seeing with kind of oligarchy forming. Um, well, I personally, I'm not, I'm go back and forth on John Oliver. I think he has made a lot of decent points. I do think, though, he has a tendency sometimes to overplay the arguments for which he's in favor and underplay or underrepresent the arguments that cut against him um, sometimes, which creates problems because even if you have decent arguments on your side, if you either ignore or underreport the decent arguments on the other side, people are less likely to trust you. I agree with you, Acadian. I don't disagree with you on that one. I think that's very valid. However, if they're not going to take care of us, then I think we as a society need to find ways to take care of each other through organizations and groups such as Freemasonry. One of the reasons I love Freemasonry is because it is a part of the social safety net. It is a part of the social safety net on which communities and individuals can rely if they're struggling. It's not the exclusive um, part of the social safety net. It's Freemasonry, it's other civic groups, it's emergency rooms, it's social welfare programs, it's food banks, it's government programs, right? All of those things, it's neighbors and coworkers and colleagues paying attention to you. All of those things combined, that's what creates a social safety net. And that's what protects people from falling too far into despair and, can be taken care of if the billionaires are not willing to do so. I mean, I can't. I mean, he may have. I can't speak to any of that stuff, Yuri, because I don't watch him a ton. So I'm not like a John Oliver defender because I watch him very rarely. Again, when I have watched him, it always struck me that he made pretty decent points towards his argument, but just as I was watching him, it was obvious that there were arguments that cut against him that he either wasn't speaking to or giving an unfair kind of a short thrift to. Um, so like I said, I've no real strong opinions on him. I just said the one time I learned about the Georgia Guidestones was on a John Oliver clip where he was kind of making fun of a politician who was running a campaign, and one of her platforms was all about the Georgia Guidestones. Um, there needs to be laws to keep restrictions on. I'm part of a society with secrets, not a secret society. You're probably right, Acadian. You're probably correct. However, until there is those laws, I'm grateful that Freemasonry exists to try to help those both who are members as well as family of members as well as community members. So, well, I hope I'm honest though. I try my best to be. I don't always have every answer, but I try my best to be as honest as I can. Um, Even if I can't give a specific, I at least try to tell how it, how the thing makes me feel. So I'm talking about a degree and I can't give a specific, answer. I'll at least talk about kind of the general themes of the degree or how it kind of made me or impacted me when I was going through it. Let's give this another, let's say 5 minutes, then we'll end this stream. I got a couple topics for next week, but one I'll look into for sure is going to be Freemasonry and Rosicrucianism. That should be a lot of fun. Specifically, the historical connections between the two. Thank you, Acadian 11 Shepherd. I hope you have a great night as well. And don't forget, always make sure you're checking out our socials. Make sure you're checking out our Twitter, our Instagram, our Facebook. We always have a lot of fun things going on, and it's important. Like I said, if you guys are following, you'll know what we got going on. So, I'm just going to give it a couple more just to see if potentially anybody shows up at a last minute just to say hello. That is true. So we got to get to sleep. All right. I think what I'll do is we'll end this stream. Have a good night. As Yuri says, those stones are not going to cut themselves, which means we need to make sure we're rested up. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you all soon.